Ho, 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 and Merry Christmas. Soon enough. Welcome back to another mksenglish.com podcast where real stories meet real English. In today's episode, we're exploring a fascinating mix of marketing, culture, and holiday tradition. Many people believe that Coca-Cola invented Santa Claus. That's not exactly true, but the company did play a major role in creating the version of Santa most of us recognize today. While you listen, pay attention to how companies influence culture and notice key vocabulary connected to advertising, branding, and tradition. Before Coca-Cola's advertising campaigns, Santa Claus looked very different from the red-suited, cheerful character that we see today. Artists in the United States and Europe depicted Santa in many ways. Some illustrations showed him as a tall, thin man. Others presented him as a small elf-like figure. His clothing also varied. Sometimes he wore brown, sometimes green, and occasionally red. There was no single standardized image. Instead, Santa changed depending on the imagination of the artist, the region, or the cultural traditions behind the story. One of the most influential early depictions came from the American cartoonist Thomas Nast in the late 1800s. Nast helped introduce the idea of Santa living at the North Pole. But even his version changed over time. So long before Coca-Cola became involved, Santa was already evolving. In the early 1930s, Coca-Cola faced a challenge. Sales dropped during winter because people didn't want to drink cold cola in cold weather. To solve this problem, the company's advertising team decided to create a campaign that encouraged people to drink Coca-Cola all year round, including during the Christmas season. Coca-Cola hired an artist named Haddon Sundblom. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. To design a new version of Santa Claus for their winter advertisements. They asked him to make Santa warm, friendly, and human rather than cartoonish or strange. Sundblom based his drawings on a real model, a retired salesman named Lou Prentice. The result was a large grandfatherly Santa with rosy cheeks, a big smile, and a bright red outfit that matched Coca-Cola's branding. This version of Santa appeared in magazines, posters, and store displays across the United States. Because Coca-Cola was one of the biggest advertisers of the time, the image spread extremely quickly. Coca-Cola didn't create Santa Claus, but it created a powerful visual standard. When millions of people see the same image year after year, it becomes familiar and eventually becomes the image. Coca-Cola's Santa was consistent. He looked the same every Christmas season. The consistency helped fix the image in the public's mind. Soon, other companies began copying the style because it was so successful. By the 1950s, television advertisements, holiday cards, and children's books all featured a Santa that looked similar or even almost identical to Coca-Cola's. It's a clear example of how branding can shape culture. When a company invests enough money and creativity into a certain idea, it can influence how a whole society imagines something. Sometimes even something as old or as traditional as Santa Claus. So, did Coca-Cola actually invent Santa? This is a common question, and the answer is no. The image of Santa draws from many sources. St. Nicholas, from a Christian tradition, the Dutch character Sinterklaas, Nordic myths, and even American literature. Coca-Cola didn't invent those origins. However, Coca-Cola did establish the modern global version. The company's long-running campaign, which continued for more than 3 decades, made the red-suited, smiling, bearded Santa an international icon. So, while the company didn't actually create Santa, it defined the most popular and recognizable version in the world today. The Coca-Cola story teaches us something important about culture. We often imagine culture as something natural, ancient, and unchanging. But in reality, culture is always being shaped by artists, by traditions, and sometimes by large companies with big advertising budgets. It also raises a question about the relationship between business and tradition. When does a marketing strategy simply promote a product? And when does it start influencing beliefs, memories, and even national identity? In the case of Santa Claus, many people don't even realize that the image they grew up with was designed at least partly by a soft drink company. Thank you for listening to another of mksenglish.com's episodes. If you enjoyed it, share it with someone who loves Christmas stories or marketing history. And if you'd like more episodes like this, make sure to follow and check out our learning materials at mksenglish.com. Ho ho ho! See you in the next episode.